Okay, in this video I'm going to be introducing and speaking a little bit about our Kickstarter ceramic shaving bowl, which is right here. I'm going to just talk about how it's made, who's made it for us, how you can get hold of one, and why you should consider using a shaving bowl when it comes to your wet shaving practice. This is all about quality. It's about its bespoke and handmade nature. It is handmade by an excellent chap called Ross Giles, and Ross is a qualified potter who's based over in Swansea in Wales, but formerly from Sheffield up north. And Ross has his own company called Giles Shaving Company, where he makes these gorgeous ceramic items. Now, we went to Ross and collaborated with him, and we briefed him out as to what we wanted here, specifically the colours, and it needed to match our synthetic shaving brush, which is black and gold. Now, there's all sorts of chemistry, which I won't pretend to understand, when it comes to glazes and fluxes and how colours are achieved, and hopefully you can see something of that colour in there. This is a lovely item. It's really nice in the hand. It feels extremely well made. This is how I hold mine. I loop my thumb through there, and then I use that to build my lather with my brush. Now, this here is a prototype soap that I'm working on, and I used it this morning, so I just thought I'd leave it in there, and it just whips up a storm of lather in here. And it's great. It's a really, really nice item, and I really enjoy using it. It's nice to have something which is really well made, especially from Britain. You know, it's made in Britain. The craftsmanship is superb, and Ross is just a joy to deal with and work with. So let me share some details with you about the bowl. I'm just going to pull up some notes which I made. Now, this is Ross and I speaking via email, and I've kind of pulled out the pertinent points that really are relevant to you as the watcher about this lovely bowl here. So in terms of method, Ross says that he throws the bowls and leaves them at least overnight, sometimes more, to dry to what he refers to as leather hard. So presumably that's the texture of the clay. It goes as hard as leather. The leather hard bowls have foot rings and internal grooves trimmed. So presumably that's the foot ring right there. And then we have the internal grooves in here are all trimmed, all done by his own hand. Handles are extruded and cut to length, dried to match the hardness of the bowl, and then attached. And the bowls, he goes on to say that the bowls must be dried evenly to avoid warps, cracks, and deformations. And that process just described there is an absolute minimum of a week, and more in winter, of which we're obviously in right now. It's very cold. He goes on to say that bowls are loaded into the kiln and fired for around 18 hours to 1,000 degrees, and then the kiln is left to cool naturally to room temperature, and that takes 4 to 5 days. The bowls are then dipped in glazes or a glaze and then reloaded into the kiln and fired for another 18 hours to 1,220 degrees, and again left to cool naturally for another 4 to 5 days. So a really, involved process. It isn't about plopping down a bit of clay, making a pretty shape, and chucking it in a kiln. There's a lot going on here, which I really had no idea about, which is why I thought I'd do this video just to share with you. So regarding the colour, I was just really intrigued about how Ross has achieved the gold element of the theme, and hopefully the camera will pick up something of the sparkle that's in there. He's done a great job. So I asked him how he's achieved that, and he said, he come back to me and said, to be perfectly honest with you, the gold was a bit of a happy accident last year. Moved from quite an efficient and modern kiln to an old, slightly underpowered kiln. This is equipment. and his matte black started showing the gold colour where thick. And at the time, he says, of the switch, he also introduced a new glaze that's highly alkaline. He can't say for certain what the exact cause is, but believes it's something to do with the firing is slow and the oxides and fluxes mature differently, or the volatile atmosphere created by the alkaline glaze, or maybe a combination of both. He thinks that the iron in the glaze is pulled to the surface of the glaze whilst it's molten. Hopefully you can make better sense of that than I can. But really, that detail, I'm sharing that detail with you just to really kind of emphasise how much care and attention goes into this item. It's a really nicely made piece of British craftsmanship. Certainly worth investing in one, and a great treat. It's available via our Kickstarter, and if you visit our website, www.phoenixandbeau.uk, you'll see details on how you can go to our page and back our project. If you've any questions, please post them below, and thank you for watching. And as always, shave right, feel brilliant.